All right. See, understand one thing very clearly. When you start with subsequent audit procedures, understand what topic is it. If it is reporting, so technically
Mhm.
everything is done at the planning stage, performance stage. Now you have come at the final stage. Final stage where what will you do in procedures? All you have to do is the things done in accordance to the regulatory framework? Was it in according to audit plan? You will review the audit plan. You will review what were the points that were taken out by the auditor. Were they addressed by the management or not? You will discuss with the management why this is done and that is not done. These are subsequent. Whenever you're thinking of what is to be done next, think what will you do next, apart from what you've already done.
ठीक है
Okay.
समझा
अब let's move to reporting के leftover topics. I'll share my screen. You can keep your cameras on. It's fine, yeah. Please keep your cameras on. I really don't like speaking to buttons. Okay, keep it. Mansi is an exception. We'll deal with it soon. Okay. The next thing that we have to start with is material matters to be considered to the TCWG. Correct. I'll go over here. Let's start matters to be considered. Income to TCWG. अब understand matters to be considered. Technically, this is a part of your subsequent audit procedure. See, this is done post reporting, or I would say in the end phase of audit. Now, in the end phase of audit, what will you consider? One, that too, if you have to communicate, let's understand one thing. You are considering not for the reporting level, but for the communication to the TCWG. And just for perspective of understanding, who is TCWG? Clients management. So what will you communicate to them just before you sign the audit report? One, that there has been a change in the accounting policy. ठीक है? For example, this is usually seen in terms of depreciation or inventory management. SLM to WDV. LIFO to FIFO. ठीक है? Now, because of this, your accounting will change. Last in, first out. Your inventory management will change. New product are usually at a higher price. So if last in is first out, so technically in first in is first out. In last in first out, your inventory management will be stronger because your expensive items are going faster, revenue will increase. Accounting is increasing. ठीक है, sales बढ़ रही है. First in, first out. Technically, iPhone 13 came first, then iPhone 15. Now iPhone 16 is coming in forward. ठीक है? Now, if iPhone 13 came first and if they start selling iPhone 13 when iPhone 15 is already launched, loss of revenue, loss of inventory, obsolete inventory, current inventory is at higher price, newer inventory is at higher price, it will go obsolete, more loss. अब अगर LIFO है, LIFO will be at lower loss. Already the depreciation has been charged. Whatever you are selling is selling at a salvage value or most at the end of the salvage value. एक ये हो गया. Or the most recoverable amount, impairment level. What is the recoverable amount out of those cash flows? Will be at that point of time when it comes to LIFO. 10,000 things to manage. ठीक है? So this is what you will communicate to management. Ki, see, management does not know everything. TCWG will not know everything. Something has changed in finance, they will come to know later on. Maybe even after 6 months or 4 months of the year has been done. I'll tell you, when I was working in TechM, if they had to change the pricing policy, it came to the management 3 to 4 months later when auditors came to us, right? This is the problem and this is how accounting was changed. And TCWG was how we were not communicated about it. Because TCWG is definitely the management, but they're not related to the finance level at every point now and then. But at the end, they hold that position to know things. Next, that will come into the place is deficiencies in the internal control. People who are working in control are usually junior level management, okay, and mid level or mid senior level management. These people have all the controls to follow into. Senior management, they follow control, but they're already adapted to it. So following, not following goes on the approval basis. But technically, is your organization running in a proper internal control? Are there deficiencies or not? If there are deficiencies, that is to be communicated to your TCWG. CCTV was not working, inventory was stolen off from an employee. This worth, if it is a material amount, yes, it will go to the TCW. It is worth the reporting. Next, impact on FS. Understand one thing. If there is something going to be changed, even if it is SLM to LIFO, LIFO to FIFO, an accounting policy is giving an impact to FS. There are policies that will be made. There will be revisions in the IFRS. You know how dynamic is ACCA. Things change at every quarter. Technical articles come on every quarter. They update, right? Why do they update? Because IFRS is changing. Demand of the market is changing. The demand of the market is changing. Your financial statements will also be impacted. What if a higher value inventory starts to sell at a higher rate? Revenue will boost, profits will boost. Suddenly, that same inventory falls down. People are not accepting. iPhone 15, the sale is comparatively 30% lower in global market than what they released for iPhone 13 and 14 collectively. What is the impact? The financial statements are falling. EBITDA is falling. Your shareholders' value is falling. Shares will be falling. Business risk will be impacted. So that is to be considered in the scope. Pay suggestions in the boundaries of ethics. Understand one thing, why did I use the word suggestion and not the word advise? And that too in the term of ethics. If I go for advisory in the domain and the boundaries of ethics, okay, technically I'm advocating my client. Advocacy threat will increase. So what I can do is I can make a suggestion. You want to follow? आपको follow करना है, well and good. You don't want to follow, don't follow. Up to you. We will make the suggestions, but in the boundaries of ethics. Self-interest, self-review, advocacy. These three threats will be at the prime danger level in this point of time. Because the moment you say an advice in the boundaries of ethics, the problem is self-interest बढ़ सकता है. Self-review may come in. Why did you advise us? You are an auditor, audit and go. Take your money and leave. So you need to be very careful. You have to suggest. Suggest is open. Accept, non-accept, your problem, not our problem. We will give you the suggestion. Fifth, deviations in IFRS. मैंने ऑलरेडी इस चीज को कवर किया है. If IFRS 15 says, example, fictitious example, from tomorrow with effect from tomorrow कर देते हैं. With effect from tomorrow, IFRS 15 says do not record the deferred income. Include it in the actual revenue of the year instead of following accrual concept or prudence concept. Okay. The point is everything is revolving around IFRS 15 up. If I start to record deferred income, which is to come next year, technically to be recognized next year, it has already come to me. Revenue of 5 lakh has come to me with an AMC, which is of warranty annual maintenance cost that I have to incur for next 5 years is already done. Contract deal signed, everything is done. Okay. Out of which 50,000 per year for next 5 years is what makes it to 2.5 lakhs. I can record only 2.5 lakhs out of that 5 lakh as my revenue, and 2.5 will go in deferred revenue. Okay. As my services are rendered. But now if they say I will have to record it in 5, technically overstatement of profit, overstatement of revenue, trickle down effect, everything falls into place. If revenue is higher, profit will be higher. Until and unless operating expenses play a gimmicky game. All right. So that something happened in IFRS 15 is impacting your FS. Now that FS to impact ho raha hai. You have communicated it. But why did that impact came into the deviations of IFRS? Impact on FS will come, and another topic, another heading will come, that is due to the deviations in the IFRS or also the local accounting body. Due to this, the deviations came in. You get my point? So you have to communicate it to the TCWG. So TCWG सोचेगी यार, how come my revenue was so less previous year? I was doing 2/5 of what I am doing today. Previous year, suddenly I am doing what not possible. What I thought also is going above and over what I thought. My targets are meeting more than the above targets are. वो कैसे आ रहे? Because IFRS की accounting changed. So everything comes into review when you are doing matters to be considered. 6, you have to consider the written representation. For example, you discuss anything with respect to the director's remuneration with the specific director, why it increased, what you did, that your remuneration increased. This is to be documented and shared with TCWG. Why? Understand the terminology. Those charged with governance. Technically, the power of corporate governance to be followed, setting of the tone from the top, has to be done by TCWG. And that is why it is important for them to know and to be communicated by the auditor. To them, things have changed. What you communicated at the top level, that is what we are giving you delivery for. And that is how your scope of matters to be considered to be communicated to TCWG will be given. Remember one thing, these are your headings. Scenario will tell you change in accounting policy. Scenario will tell you there is a deficiency in internal control. Scenario will tell you there is an impact on FS. Scenario will bound you to give an suggestion. So technically give this heading, explain what is the change, and tell why do you want to communicate to TCWG. Why will you communicate this to TCWG? Reason बता देता हूँ मैं. that you can use. Recorded now. That you can use in the exam. Director's remuneration will be impacted. Profitability figures will change. Interpretation for TCWG will change. I'm giving you technically the excuses that you have to make out of a point. Then why are you communicating this to TCWG? Unethically, ethical boundaries were compromised. Team did not cooperate. When I read out my sample paper for matters to be considered, we'll figure out which question we have matters to be considered to be communicated to TCWG in reporting. And we'll see if I have done that question, we'll read out that question. Technically, you will know how things are to be communicated, what is the language, what is to be taken from the scenario, what is not. And every time I will tell you, use the scenario. Scenario is your Bible. Even if you read my latest LinkedIn post, okay, the first thing that I communicated was this thing. Make, I will go to my profile, check this out. The first and the foremost, case study will only save you in the examination. Link your headings to the case study, make a justification out of it. Why do you think you will earn your marks? Game at professional level in ACCA is all about justifying. There is no right answer, there is no wrong answer. And I'm betting you on this. I'm taking you to SBL. In SBL, I gave an example. I mean, when I gave my paper, there was this thing of the use of clinical psychologist. It was a PUBG game framework, and I suggested that there is a risk on mental health, and now there should be clinical psychologist for this. Or else the risk is people will be addicted, your digital time will increase, eventually people's health will be suffered, and mental health cases will increase and damage the reputation. Business risk create hua. And now when I gave the recommendation, XYZ, now I took that out from the scenario. And then I created out a scenario, another scenario out of it, or an implication out of it. And then I gave a recommendation, hire a team of clinical psychologists that evaluate the game, evaluate how difficult is it for a mental health to be told upon. So this is not in textbook. This justification was nowhere in textbook. It is all scenario based. So technically use your scenario as your Bible. अब we are done with matters to be communicated to TCWG. ठीक है. अब बात आती है at paragraphs. Just a minute. I'll unmute. I'll just mute myself for a minute. I was just checking upon Anjali यार. ठीक है. Okay. Now let's understand the paragraphs. उससे पहले before we go towards the paragraphs, let's go towards audit report. When I specified the audit report yesterday, I told you about paragraphs, EOMPK, MUIGC, other information, correct? I gave you the chronological order to it also, right? अब the point is what is going to go into that audit report ki specific paragraphs is very important for you to understand. And we'll keep it very simple. We won't go to that very technical level. We don't require it because it's AAA. All we have to do is sit back and apply. So the textbook knowledge is not going to help us at any cost in AAA level or SBL level. SBR, yes, but not in AAA, AFM and SBL. ठीक है. सबसे पहला paragraph that comes is CAM. When do we use this? Let's set up the scope also. Scope of paragraphs. What all paragraphs are we covering? One is CAM, key audit matters. ठीक है. One is EOMP, emphasis of material में. ठीक है.
Emphasis of matter, na?
Emphasis of material paragraph. P is for paragraph. फिर other info. ठीक है. And then we have MURGC. ठीक है. Materiality, uncertainty, going concern. ठीक है. We'll start with CAM. Okay. Trick. Trick for considering whenever you attempt a CAM question. Audit risk is replicated. But the highest material amount and the top 3 risks and 4 risks will be highlighted. No or less use of IAS because even IFRS. Don't take it itna personally, but then yeah. Because this is reporting. What do we expect? What is the misstatement or lack of evidence? How much is it for? What is the FS impact? This is your format for the CAM. And this will replicate risk 1, this is how it will go. This will be one paragraph. Second paragraph, third paragraph, fourth paragraph, CAM is over. Move to next. Put a heading CAM. Put all those 3 to 4 matters. Move out of the question.
अनुज मेरा एक क्वेश्चन था.
हाँ.
हेलो. जब हम
बोलो.
एम्फेसिस ऑफ मैटर लिखते हैं और अदर मैटर लिखते हैं तो दोनों में पर्टिकुलरली क्या डिफरेंसेस होते हैं?
मैं अदर मैटर पैराग्राफ पे आया ही. डिफरेंस एक ही है. एवरीथिंग इज गोना रेप्लिकेट. दिस इज फॉर लिस्टेड and cut copy paste when I come to EOM.
इन्फॉर्मेशन
I'll come to
नॉर्मली
it. I'll come to it. I'll come to it. We are going one
ओके।
by we are going one by one.
ये अभी यहीं से ही स्टार्ट हुआ है?
हाँ,
अभी जो
paragraph
आज की क्लास है?
no, we have completed matters to be matters to be communicated to TCWG.
ओके ओके।
Cam is your first paragraph. ठीक है, अब understand this will be only in the case of listed companies. If it is an unlisted company, cut, copy, paste. This will become unlisted, and this will be replaced by the name of EOMP. Clear है? But something that also will add in case of unlisted is plus any other information which is material by nature or quantity and important for the user's understanding, as it will impact the economic decision making of the user. This matter will also be considered in case of unlisted company. Is this clear? Have you understood this point?
Yes.
For example, you found 4 risks. Okay. And then you see there is a subsidiary which is not of something of the very vertical that they deal in. Tata Steel takes up a subsidiary, for example, like Tata Motors, very fictitious. Is steel related to motors except for raw materials? By operation, is it related? No. Now that's material by nature. If it is 15% above revenue, PBT, or total assets basis per, it is material by quantity. It will impact the user's decision making. A person like me will think, okay, subsidiary is performing well. Instead of me investing into Tata Steel, I will take up the share of Tata Motors. So this is why you will add things in the unlisted audit report with respect to your user understanding. But if it would have been listed, that will come in UMP and you just focus on the risk. If it is a listed company, such subsidiaries are just a part of it. It won't impact much. You won't have that information. So this is a point of difference for you to understand. This specific item will be added. Is this clear?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Now let's go to other information paragraph. I think this looks more cute. Let's go with this. I'm loving this combination apparently. Just a distraction. Okay. Huh. Other info. If you see these paragraphs, UMP, KM, they are taking matters that are audited, right? Reporting or everything is audited. Now what comes in other info is non-audited matters. I'll tell you what kind of, everyone has seen an annual report. Now there is a system of integrated report, but today also if I open any annual report, Let's take a penny here. We don't mind. Is this just towards your finances? Hmm?
No.
Finances towards the end. This is where the auditor has majorly worked on when this report was published. Okay. Other matter paragraph, technically, the other information paragraph, it will have the matters that were unaudited. Is there something that the auditor found when he was reviewing? He didn't audit, but he reviewed. You get my point? He just reviewed. ऊपर से सिर्फ देखा है. Did he find something in these matters that are materially or immaterially impacting the financial statements? Or was there a matter which was in line of finance and that had to be considered as in other information that people should have? Are you clear with this?
Yes.
Integrated report ऐसी दिखती है. It is a topic in SPL apparently. Now, when you move to statutory report, that is technically your report of. I think so. There should have been a 142, right? देखो स्टार्ट रिपोर्ट आ गई. This is technically how your audit report looks like. Everything comes into board wala area comes into it. Board's report, what is board into, what is board not into. Each and every detail. But this is all reviewed by BSR. The BSR is KPMG apparently in India. This will be all. But if there is something that is very much in line to the IFRS or IAS that needs to be reported. Incongruence, मतलब कुछ तो ऐसा मामला है कि things have to be reported. Then it gets into this other report segment. Page number 305. See how big is this? Scroll करूँ. I'm trying to find where can I go to page. ये लो. एड्रेस आता है ना एंड में, मैंने बताया था. This is technically how your report looks like. But technically, those matters are not audited. Only financial statements were audited. So anything that was a non-audit matter that relates to financial statements, and the auditor will review that if it is in check with FS or not. अब मैं इसका और एक अच्छा एग्जांपल देता हूँ. KPIs होती हैं everywhere. Everyone has to maintain that the KPI of 30% carbon emission has been reduced and all. ठीक है. what happens is in board ki report, they will say we reduced to 60%. When financial statements audit for carbon printing was done, we found out that okay, only 30% was done. Now that will come into the other information. But हाँ वहीं पर कहीं IFRS होता या IAS होता, कोई हिट हो रहा होता, then it would have gone to KM if listed. If unlisted, EOMP. Is this concept clear?
हाँ
Yes.
अब लास्ट होता है MURGC पैराग्राफ. Material uncertainty regarding going concern. You have to check here if your company is going into going concern issue. You have to mention this. You have to, as an auditor, mention that the financial statements are reported under breakup basis. Simple. Scenario will let you know. Adequate disclosures for the same has been made. And going concern resolution has been passed in the board meeting with the auditor. Is this clear what is coming in MURGC?
Yes.
This completes
हाँ
your representation with respect to paragraphs.